Good morning, everyone. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here talking about our favorite candidate, Dr. Bola. We are just so pleased at the outcome so far in District 16, and we certainly believe that he will make a difference in District 16. So, without further ado, I would like to give this portion back to our chairman of UAC. And remember, September 10th, vote for Dr. Bola. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Now, Einstein, one of the most famous scientists, once said, the definition of being crazy is keep putting the same exact people in office. People who have less qualification than Dr. Bola, people who have less achievement than Dr. Bola, people who are grinding by the machine. This is an independent practicing doctor who happens to be the chairman of Community Board 5, who knows every single issue from A to C. He comes with qualification. Now you're talking about honoring the veterans. This is a veteran. This is a complete package for what District 16 needs. Now, today we're talking about Dr. Bola Amatoso's Health and Wellness Council Plan, which is, once it is known by the constituency of this district, they will not even hesitate to know that this person is what they need for them to be represented. And before we go any further, one of the biggest challenges facing some families, and especially now, is diabetes. And a lot of families struggle to deal with it. But worse yet, juvenile diabetes. And you see, when you have a child who's diagnosed with juvenile diabetes, that child must be very strong. Otherwise, the daily management of juvenile diabetes can take a toll on anybody. And we have a child who happened to be my son, who was recently diagnosed with juvenile diabetes, and he has done a wonderful job in managing, his, this disease, and to a point where, he makes it so light that you don't even feel like he has any disease. So we brought with us someone who can talk directly from personal experience what juvenile diabetes is and how to manage it and how to live without even, losing any time because of it. And I want Mohammed to briefly describe a little bit about juvenile diabetes to the audience.
Hello, my name is Mohammed Jame. Type 1 diabetes is a chronic illness that has been affecting many Americans and that still affects us today, including myself. Plain and simple, in other words, it means high blood sugar, which means there's something going on with the production of insulin in your body. This type of diabetes is also called juvenile diabetes because it is most common in children, and there is still a rapid growth among them. Then again, I'm not saying adults cannot get it, but it's most often in kids. First of all, being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes doesn't mean necessarily it's your fault. Doctors and other health professionals do not know why you get it, but they do know how. There's no way in preventing type 1 diabetes, and the risk of getting it rises between the age of 10 to 15 and begins to decrease as you get older from there. As I said before, doctors do not know why, but how someone gets diabetes. It has to do with genes and hereditary information. Some say this isn't enough, that it has to be triggered by a virus growing up. In getting type 1, your pancreas secretes a hormone called insulin, yet the immune system, being your body's defense, destroys them. Insulin is what I would say used as a key to let glucose pass through the cell. Insulin, when these cells aren't being produced because of the unknown attack on them, glucose is not allowed in the cell and the cell does not have the energy, the insulin to produce the energy. When this happens, the sugar stays in the blood, and this is called a high blood sugar. Type 1 diabetes is different than the other two types of diabetes. Gestational diabetes may occur during pregnancy, and type 2 is similar to type 1. In this case, your body is producing insulin, but it has a hard time being used. Either way, glucose is not being allowed to enter the cell, which leads to the dying of cells and then your whole body completely after some time. Many people get the wrong perception about type 1 diabetes. They also blame their diet while it has to do with your genes. Although you cannot prevent it, it can be detected early and may or be delayed. Bottom line, if it's written in your destiny to get diabetes, then you're surely to get it. Knowing the symptoms will tell you if you have it or not. One of them is urinating a lot and being thirsty all the time. A most common symptom actually. Because glucose cannot enter the cell to produce energy, every time you would feel thirsty, and that drink will pass through you really fast. No nutrients needing to be absorbed because of the lack of insulin, resulting in it going to your urine. And indeed, this process is frequent. Another symptom is extreme fatigue, because there isn't a way for glucose to enter the cell, which gives it the energy. These are just some main and common symptoms that most people, including me, face while I figured I had diabetes. Currently in the year of 2013, as many as 3 million Americans have type 1 diabetes. Each year, more than 15,000 children and 15,000 adults, approximately 80 people per day, are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in the United States. The rate of type 1 diabetes incidence among children under the age of 14 is estimated to increase 3% annually worldwide. Diabetes is the leading cause to kidney failure, non-traumatic lower limb amputations, and new cases of blindness among adults in the United States. Diabetes is also a major cause of heart disease and stroke. Diabetes is the 7th leading cause towards death in the United States. Medicines and other fields associated with it have advanced so much and have become modern to help treat, if not cure, all kinds of sickness, disease, and other chronic illness. About 50 years ago, said by my endocrinologist that diabetes was a death sentence. There was little to none knowledge about the knowledge of treating that illness back then. But basically understanding this disease, diabetes in particular, type 1, can not only lead to treatments but possible cures, which scientists are now working on. And as a growth in the population, about 1 in every 400 children and adolescents has diabetes. So the demand for a cure will definitely rise up. The treatment for diabetes is insulin. Once again, this hormone is secreted from the pancreas, which helps glucose, which is sugar, enter the cells of our body. This process gives us the energy and nutrients we need to perform life functions and daily activities. Without insulin, we will slowly begin to die. Insulin is given, well, for type 1 through needle injections. This is because it cannot be given any other way. If it's swallowed by a pill or a liquid, the stomach acid will destroy it before it can be used. The needle injection is given under the skin because that way it goes directly into the bloodstream and performs its functions. There are some instances where people actually do get cured. Some believe in natural remedies and the body's healing. Others think religion can do the same. Juvenile diabetes is a disease that can happen to anyone regardless of age or health situation. It cannot be prevented, as said before. Living with diabetes might seem hard at first, and even now, being lazy and unconscious of when you take insulin and monitor your blood sugar. If not treated for a long period of time, you will begin experiencing detrimental symptoms and begin to die a slow, painful death. But it's important to keep a positive attitude about it and take care of your health situation, regardless of it being diabetes. At the same time, pray for a cure in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad. So, by listening to Muhammad eloquently describing this particular disease that is very rampant in this district, certainly is an eye-opener to all of us, and especially to parents. And having a medical doctor, again, at the helm is more secure than having a career politician. This is extremely personal to all of us. So now, before we go any further, we would like to bring one of the most active African community member who has done it all, who has brought up more people together than anybody we know of, and who is one of the biggest supporter for Dr. Bola Amatoso because of her knowledge of what he can deliver to this district. So I just want to bring up Ajarama Ahmed to talk a little bit.